it's Louis here. Hope you're doing great. In this video, I'm going to talk about my latest student accommodation project, which is finally complete. If you haven't already, make sure to check out the previous two videos that I made about this house, because it will give you a better idea of what this project is about. I'm finally done after all the blood, sweat and tears, and I'm happy to say that the property is fully tenanted. With that said, it's quite difficult to document the process while you are actually busy focusing on completing the job. So I hope that these videos that I make can motivate you and help you in some way, because it's a lot of work. In this video, I'm going to talk about the before and after of this project. I'm going to share videos what the project actually looks like at the moment. I'm going to show you guys the numbers that I can expect for this project, and I'm also going to mention some of the biggest mistakes that I've made and also some of the main risks that you face when you try to complete a project similar to this. So one of the risks that I wanted to talk about first, and this is a pretty big one, it's called cash flow. So like you might know, these projects are quite capital intensive and you need to put down quite a bit of your own capital in the beginning, ranging from deposits, transfer fees, registration cost, special consent or rezoning cost, renovation cost, holding costs, as well as any new installations that needs to be done. This is probably the part of the project that I always struggle with the most, because no matter what happens, no matter how strict you work with a budget, it's almost as if you always go over budget. The thing is, a property like this is not the best looking property. It's not supposed to impress people because it's super good looking, but it is still a renovation project. I like to call it a rental grade renovation. This basically means I only spend money on renovations where it really makes a big difference. One of the most expensive parts of this project was of course the tile work, because I decided to tile out the entire property except for the bathrooms. The bathrooms is something that I will change a bit in the near future, but we wanted to get the project rolling and focus on the things that is really going to make a big difference. Like you would see on the videos, the entire property is tiled throughout, which gives it a really good look and feel. Of course, I had to convert the original garage to a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom with a small kitchenette, and that was where a lot of the capital went as well. I always like to think certain things I can do on my own, but at the end of the day, you will be offering your time to save a bit of money. What I've done with this specific project is to outsource majority of the difficult work to a team that I trust, and although it cost me a bit more, it allowed me to buy my own primary residence in December and focus my time and energy on that project as well. Another thing that is really important to focus on when it comes to these projects is holding costs. I basically bought this property at the end of last year. It was registered in November, so it means November, December, January and February is months that I need to pay for this bond without receiving any income. Because this is a bursary student accommodation property, I will only probably receive my first income in March or maybe even April. That's quite a lot of money that you need to account for just to simply hold on to this property. I always like to tell people, if you want to focus on a similar strategy, whether it's student accommodations or multi-lets, I would probably start with a smaller project. And that's exactly what I've done. I started with small bachelor flats, then I moved to 1-bedroom flats, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and eventually started buying houses. So it's really important to focus on your own situation, the amount of money that you can put down for a project like this, so that you do not drain all of your cash flow. Because believe me, this is an issue that you can get caught in quite quickly. Before we go on, I wanted to let you guys know that I'll be running a 10% discount for the month of February on all my course and coaching programs, and this is a great way to save a bit of money. I also decided to add more content to my course, and some of the most recent content I added is case studies where I work with actual students and help them to get to where they want to be. This alone creates a lot of value, so make sure to check that out. So I think one of the things that I had to learn the hard way is that I missed quite a few issues when initially buying the property. I was aware that there was a lot of work needed on this property. I was aware of cracks in the walls, cracks in the floors, roof leaks, plumbing issues and so on, but there were still issues that I completely missed. And one of these issues is geyser or plumbing issues. It seems like there's always plumbing and geyser issues no matter what type of property you own, and one of the mistakes that I made was not doing a thorough enough inspection in the beginning of the purchase. Don't get me wrong, I still did an inspection. I always do inspections, but it seems like there's always one or two things that slips through that you completely miss. So that brings us to the most important part of this project, the income that I can expect for this property. Like most of you might know, this property has room for 11 students, so it's basically divided in 7 single rooms and 2 sharing rooms. I prefer buying a house that has more sharing rooms compared to single rooms, because at the end of the day, the single rooms are by far the most popular compared to sharing rooms. The amount that we can expect for a single room is around 4,400 Rand per single room and 3,600 Rand per sharing room. That brings us to a total of around 45,000 Rand, which is a pretty decent income for a property that only cost me 1.3 million Rand. Although there is a lot of expenses that we need to account for, and that's why I wanted to make this part of the video. So first things first, what this property is worth in my opinion based on bank valuations, municipal valuations, agent experience, my own experience, as well as paid reports to make sure that the valuation is accurate. I bought the property for 1.3, meaning it has around 400,000 Rand equity in this property, and I also paid a 10% deposit of around 130,000 Rand, meaning all in all there's around 530,000 Rand equity available based on how I work with these projects. So again, the rental income is projected to be 45,000 Rand, and of course the biggest expense that I have on this property is my bond cost. Luckily the interest rates went down, so this helps to reduce my bond payment. Insurance is of course a must, and it works out to around 545 Rand. Then rates and taxes is around 1,850 Rand. Then it brings us to the commission amount, and I pay my agent 10% because she's great at what she does. She helps me a lot, and it's absolutely worth paying someone that amount because they make your life so much easier. Then it brings me to cleaning, garden services and security. So I have a cleaning team, a gardening team, as well as security installed in this property, and that brings us to 1,360 Rand. Then of course we get to the water amount. So every student needs to have an allowance of a certain amount of water, and I ended up installing a prepaid meter so that we can meter the water usage. Then of course Wi-Fi, it's really important. And the cool thing is that fiber is so cheap nowadays. Although they really don't watch too much TV, most of the activity will be on their personal cell phones. Then it brings us to electricity, which equals around 2,750 Rand. So the total expenses for this property is around 24,515 Rand, which is quite a lot. Another thing that I have to account for is vacancy. So of course the tenants only live in this property for 10 months, so you need to account for vacancy, or basically December and January, because you won't receive an income. So after all the expenses is covered, this property on a monthly basis before accounting for vacancy would be around 20,685 Rand. Then converting this to an income of 10 months is around 206,000 Rand. And then we deduct the vacant months or the holding cost that we had to pay for these vacant months. Then I would deduct this amount from the yearly income or the 10-month income that I can expect, which gives us a yearly income of 175,000 Rand. And if we divide that by 12, it gives us a monthly cash flow amount of around 14,643 Rand. Of course, these are just projections, and this numbers will absolutely change as we go into the year. But it just gives you a quick idea of how I look at these type of properties. And of course, we need to account for the deposit that I put down, which is around 130,000 Rand. So that definitely makes a big difference. With that said, I hope that this video has helped you in some way. If it did, please subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends and family, and give this video a like. It will help me out a lot.